Hey guys, Harv here, and welcome back to the Kerbal Space Program. This is our Inter-Planetary Fleet, where we are currently on our ultimate mission to send this big, massive thing we're going to assemble in orbit all the way to a planet of our choice, and do lots of cool things when we get there. I suppose I've been a bit vague about it, really, haven't I? Oh well. So what have we got here? What we are doing right now is assembling a refueler. No, we're not. We're assembling an engine, that's it. The refuel is later. We're assembling an engine, because when we left off, we had our core in orbit. We just needed to strap some engines onto the side. So how are we going to do this? Well, I debated between using probes for it, because, you know, you don't want to have too many manned things competing with each other. But then I decided no, because it's much easier to use a manned capsule. You don't need to worry about electricity. They have more torque, so SAS works better on them without needing RCS power. So what I've decided to do is use a manned craft to send up the engine, and then we can just undock one of the manned crew, undock the module, and send it home in some sort of escape pod thing. So that's what I'm setting up here. Now, bearing in mind, this may seem exceedingly obvious to most of you, but for some reason I didn't notice it at the start. I've put a docking port directly underneath that small LV-909 engine. The one right at the top. I've put a docking port directly underneath it. What does that mean? There's going to be a docking port directly under the nozzle, which means we're not going to be able to use that engine, and we'll have a right laugh about that later. But yes, right now, we've got that sorted out, so we're undocking from the engine, and this is the engine part. This is what we're working on. So I've put 4 RCS thrusters for forwards and backwards and turning and whatnot, but I'm also going to start using linear thrusters because they give much stronger force for the same amount of efficiency, for the same ISP. So we're having them on side so we can move forwards and backwards and whatnot. Now, what am I going to do here? I'm going to try out what everyone's been screaming at me to do, and I've constantly been saying I can't be bothered because the benefits probably aren't all that much. But to humour those fools in the comment section, I'm being really pretentious. No, I'm doing asparagus staging, and we're going to see how well or how much benefit this provides. I quite like it, it turns out. Certainly, it keeps the speed realistic, not too fast, so we're actually wasting fuel, and it probably does save a fair amount of fuel, so I'm going to carry on doing it. But yes, everyone was like, oh, why aren't you using asparagus staging? And I was just like, I can't be bothered. Really, I know it helps, I know what it is, you don't need to tell me over and over what it is, guys. I do know, this is the proof, I know what it is. But of course you can't tell everyone everything, because not everyone will listen. So I might as well just do what I do and stop trying to tell people things. Let's carry on building this. So what I've done is put fuel lines going from the 2 I want to detach first to the 2 I want to detach second. And I'm hoping at this point that will automatically do the fuel flowing that I want. And it turns out it does, which is very nice. We're just strutting everything up now, trying to make sure it's stable and whatnot. Later, I just added a load more struts to this, because in between the tanks I discovered is a good place to put it. I saw it on a test pilot a while ago. I think it was, I can't remember what it was. It was one of the old interplanetary test pilots, but yeah, putting struts between consecutive fuel tanks is actually a good idea in this circumstance, using the mainsail engines, because the thrust and the gimballing just makes it wobble so much. I think the gimballing on those mainsails probably needs setting back a little. Say, for instance, if it can gimbal to 0.1 at the moment, it should be able to gimbal to 0.5 or 0.05 or something like that. But anyway, there we go. I think we've got our staging pretty much set up. We've got our engines, putting them in order, parachutes and stuff and whatnot and all that. Set up some action groups so that I can toggle gimbal. Of course, need to do them for each individual pair now that they're not grouped as 4, because we're dropping them 2 at a time. That is what the asparagus staging is. You basically, in this formation, what we're going to have is 2 of those engines. You'll see right here. 2 of those engines, the fuel of them is being used by the rest all the other engines, and as soon as that's all burnt up, we drop it, and we carry on burning from those 2 remaining outside engines. It basically means you use fuel more efficiently. That's the bottom line. And there we go. Once that's done, we can drop it again, and look at all the shaking and the wobbling, and it's all because of the gimbal. If we didn't have gimbaling on, our torque from the command module is probably enough to keep us pointing in the correct direction. But oh well, let's just carry on anyway. And you can see that there was quite a bit of wobbling also caused of the decoupler and the engine bouncing against each other. But never mind, we can carry on. So yes, that asparagus staging, I think I will carry on using. It is quite good. I quite like it. So we can carry on getting closer, ever closer to having our orbit correctly set up. It's just out of the atmosphere now, our apoapsis, and we're probably out of the atmosphere ourselves by now. I didn't pay any attention. I didn't look at the map view, and I didn't time the launch window. So this is completely random. We're going to have to adjust for the fact that we're nowhere near our space station. So I always go over this in every episode, but I'm not going to stop now. In order to catch up with the target, because as you can see it's ahead of us, we're going to be dropped down into a lower orbit. The altitude of our orbit is lower. This means we have a smaller circumference. The circle we draw out as we orbit has a smaller circumference, and therefore we travel a smaller distance each lap of the planet. And because we're travelling we are travelling a smaller distance, it takes us less time, which means we gradually catch up the space station. But anyway, since we get close enough, we can start burning, and you can see we get these intersection thingamajobbies on the map. The orbit insertion, relative thingamajobby wasn't perfect. God, all these technical terms. Yeah, we didn't get exactly perfect to my liking. So just another quick burn there to set it up a bit closer. Flight planning. Really don't need it, but I'm using it. I'm trying to use it more and more often. Although I think I said in recent video that I wouldn't bother, but whatever. I can change my mind if I want to. So there we are. Our separation is now 1.2 kilometers at our closest approach. So we just spin around and we get this yellow reticule on our nav ball telling us where our relative velocity vector is. Man, I love being interested in space. You get to see all these awesome words. Relative velocity vector. I went to a New Year's Eve party. On New Year's Eve, huh? What coincidence. I went to New Year's Eve party and I told someone what I did on YouTube and whatnot, and said, "Oh, are you quite popular?" Yeah, 4,000 subscribers, and they had the best reaction ever. It was so good. It made me really appreciate how good it is, because it's over 4,000 subscribers, and that was on New Year's Eve, and it's now gone 4.5, depending on when this video is uploaded, because this video is probably going to be recorded a while before it gets uploaded. There aren't going to be many videos because my internet is screwed, basically. I mean, it just so happens, it's a bit of a coincidence, a real coincidence this time. I've been getting myself a wired connection in the attempt to get a faster speed for quicker uploading and ergo more uploading. So we've sorted this all out. We've emptied out this cupboard beside my room to get access to the telephone lines, and we've threaded Ethernet cable up and down. I've been spending loads of time when I should have been doing homework doing that and recording videos. And I've now got this Ethernet cable plugged into my laptop, and the drivers are out of date. Presumably, the Ethernet controller device in my laptop isn't working. I think it's due to out-of-date drivers, and no matter that I've found the correct drivers necessary, I can't find anywhere to download them from. Tried going to the manufacturer's site and nothing came up. Yeah, I'm going to keep on trying, and I'm sure by the time this is uploaded I'll have fixed it, but yeah. And at the same time, the Wi-Fi has gone down, basically. So I really don't know when this is going back up. Whenever the Wi-Fi comes back, or whenever I get my device drivers working first. I wonder which one will happen first. But anyway, that brings us to this. I say but anyway way too often. As well as so, yeah. We're right here. right, sitting directly underneath our docking ports, we've brought ourselves in with our mismatched sized craft. And we're ready just to be pulled in by the magnetism, and there we go. There we go indeed. Jebediah Kerman flying this engine mission. And we still have the majority of our fuel, which is pretty good. So what we're going to do now is separate our ship from the main interplanetary fleet. I'll tell you, this thing, it looks so much more bulky and less streamlined than the prototype did, but it's so much more solid. Really, there's no wobble whatsoever, and everything seems really reinforced and strong and whatnot. And I'm glad that seems to be enough space for the landers to go on those inner struts. Here we go, we've decoupled this thingamajobby, and now it's time to activate our engine and burn away. Or try. Yeah, that's the docking port. There. Just sitting directly underneath the nozzle of our engine. Just refusing to allow any thrust to escape. See, it says liquid fuel deprived right there. Yeah, that's great. But that's mainly actually because we ran out of fuel. Ah, I forgot about that. Yes. It turns out the order of fuel flow actually uses up the first tank immediately. And we haven't got any RCS thrusters on this escape pod, so we're going to have to move the entire space fleet up towards our interplanetary fleet ship. And remember, we only have one engine. We have two engines, but we only have one engine cluster, side mount, and this thing is the only part that has RCS thrusters on it. So we're very lopsided, but we still manage, with some minor problems, we still manage to be within range for the docking ports to clamp us down. Quickly, we just have to fill that thing up with fuel. I'm not sure how much fuel it really needs to deorbit. Probably isn't much. I'd say maybe 20 is about right. But I'm going to fill it the entire way, because at the end of the day, that's 90 litres out of the 2,144 we have. 90 litres of liquid fuel, that is, not counting oxidizer. But yeah, it's a small amount, and it's enough to pay for that little bit of extra security having full fuel gives us. But anyway, we can try this again, because at this point in time I'm not sure that anything's wrong, so we'll undock, we'll swap back to our ship and throttle up. Throttle up. We can see the fuel coming out, but there's no thrust. Yeah, just spilling hydrogen out. Spilling liquid fuel and oxidizer, expanding gas out into the void. And we're getting no thrust, bang for our buck for it. Which is a shame. Bit of an inconvenience, really. But at least it does prove that Newton's laws are not correct. Clearly. Yes, of course. So what we're going to do now? I don't know. I pressed jettison. That was an option that was there. Didn't help whatsoever. It looks like we're stuck here. So what we're going to do? I don't think we're going to be able to redock this thing. And even if we can, it's probably not worth the effort. So the only thing left to do is probably get rid of Jebediah Kerman. Or not get rid of him. You know, don't blow up the entire ship with him left in it. We need to put him back in our interplanetary fleet. Luckily we have our hitchhiker storage container. I knew that would be useful. I knew it. That is definitely something we need. So we're going to shove him in there and hope there's enough food supply for him. And the other 3 pilots that are currently sitting cozy in their command module. So we get him out and we just EVA him. And I'm about to put him in the hitchhiker storage container when I just see the sight. Man, look at that. Look at that. That is a nice view. The Earth and its kind of soft light, warmth, you know, and the floating return pod and the half-built interplanetary fleet. Pretty awesome. I quite like that. I quite like that a lot. I did print screen it, but I recorded this ages ago and I forgot to actually do anything with the image, so I haven't got it. That's a shame. Oh well, at least it's caught on video. Forevermore. Jebediah Kerman blandly looking towards the Interplanetary Fleet. What is wrong with that man? I've got no idea. Let's put him inside his cage and forget about him, probably. Yeah, I probably won't remember he's there. But anyway, we can just end flight on the small return ship now. That wasn't exactly a successful first mission. Well, it was successful. We got the engine docked and everything. But yeah, the design didn't work particularly well. Which is a shame, of course. So, what are we going to do next? Well, it's clear we have to redesign the engine. At least slightly. The problem is we have some constraints. We can't redesign it completely. Because if that were the case, then we'd be off-balanced. So we redesign it slightly. We basically keep the same infrastructure. And we dock we dock the other two symmetrically, and now we're coming in for the last one, the final docking procedure. Here we go. All the engines are attached now, and I've had absolutely no problems with the docking whatsoever. Everything is completely fine with them. And you can see I've added a decoupler right there that we can switch to end the flight, and now we're in our escape pod. Successfully away. Bill Kerman flying this mission. Bill knows what he's doing. More than Jebediah. Far more than Jebediah. But anyway, back to the... I say but anyway way too much. Here's a drinking game, right? Every time I say but anyway or so, you take a shot. God, I'm a 14-year-old promoting drinking games. I really... Yeah, whatever. But anyway, yeah, you're gonna kill yourself, trust me. We need to make a refueler. That is the next order of business. So to do that, we are pretty much going to get rid of everything that made this a serviceable engine. As in detaching this escape pod afterwards that's going to return back to Kerbal. And we don't actually change that much, thinking about it now. We only really change that fact that we are leaving behind this engine, which we're not this time. We don't have to. We're not leaving anything behind, so we actually can have the command pod directly connected to its engine. I'm leaving the very small half fuel tank there because that's going to be our marker for how much fuel we need to get back to Kerbal to deorbit. To push this entire empty ship back out of orbit, it might take a half fuel tank, so we're going to have a full half fuel tank. That's confusing. We're going to have that much fuel. Just take it as read. That's how much fuel we're going to have. And of course we have a docking port on the top and some radial parachutes on the side to make sure everything works like that. And there we go. This time actually waiting for our collect launch window, finally. This took so long. I mean, this particular mission didn't, but getting those 4 engines up there, that was within the space of 2 days. 2 days of trying, which probably adds up to maybe 3 hours of failed attempts. Really, you can see all the little specks on the engine, depending on what resolution you're viewing the video at. You can see all the little specks joining those engines together, the extra struts, because you need them. Really need them for this design, and that really annoys me. You would think that fuel tanks would be joined together with some considerable force, seeing as they are intended for this type of engine. But no, apparently not. We're getting into orbit, and nearly said it then. We're getting in. We are close to our orbit. I've not cut this bit out because I thought it would be good to end on an entire thing. This has been post-commentary. Have you noticed? Yes, this entire video is post-commentary because I recorded this late at night, and that explains how I had the time to do it for 3 hours. I'm thinking that we might get more post-commentary stuff going on the channel, because I do stay up till ridiculous early hours of the morning just playing games, and it'd be more productive of me if I made those games just specifically Kerbal Space Program. Been doing Saints Row the Third a lot. I finished it. I did one of the endings. I did the disappointing one. If everyone agrees that's disappointing, I don't know whether they do. It was the one that was a lot shorter. Like, you came to the decision which ending do you want to do. You came to the dilemma, the moral choice. And I did the more moral one, the ethical choice. And that was one mission and then end. And if you do the unethical choice, then you get one mission and another mission, which is epic, and then end. So it's, yeah, it's a bit disappointing, but it allows you to do them both anyway. It's not like you have to redo the entire game. Oh crap, I should have been commentating. Sorry, wait, this was important. I quick saved, right? I came in and I thought, okay, we're coming in, I'll quick save. And then soon after I quick saved, we came in and crashed and blew up one of the engines. So you can see how close we are. Quickly, RCS burn upwards. I don't care where we're going, just burn upwards, upwards, upwards. Oh, we just avoided it. Oh, just. That was very close. I was intending to make that a more dramatic thing. The thing is, I make these videos, right? I make these videos. I do make them. I make them before commentating over them, if I'm doing post-commentary. So I look at it during editing and think, okay, I can say this here and that'll be really cool. And then I go off on a rant during the commentary stage and I forget to say what I plan to say, so the video footage isn't correctly aligned with what I'm saying. You trust me, the life of a YouTuber is so hard. Yeah, so ridiculously hard. We're here, we're coming in. I'm disappointing all those alcoholics deliberately. We're coming in for our final docking. Right, there we are, the fully completed, no it's not quite, with the fully completed exoskeleton of the Interplanetary Fleet. It's much wider, it's a lot more cumbersome, but at the same time it's a lot more solid. So we bring this in using our linear thrusters and our radial thrusters, if that's what they're called, just RCS thrusters in general I suppose. We have a little knock with it, which isn't quite aligned, a bit off to the left I think, but we can bring it back and go in for the kill, and there we go. Magnetism, very useful. I'm considering a hardcore let's play of Kerbal Space Program. If they spend too long on the career mode, we can have a hardcore let's play, and that would be no quick saves or quick loads, so you have to deal with every stupid mistake I make, and if there's a way, turn off magnetism on docking ports. That'll make docking a lot more harder, a lot more precise, a lot more realistic, I think. So yeah, we are done here. So, but anyway, but anyway. I'm gonna have a lot less subscribers now, aren't I? Yes, we are bringing this away. We successfully detach after using up all our fuel but that one half fuel tank. And lo and behold, we're here at the dot. Not the target, because there's nothing here to aim for, just the dot on Kerbin's landscape, that annoying mole. And here we are, also at the end of the video. So guys, if you liked the video, then please do like the video. This has been the Interplanetary Fleet. We're getting ever closer to our ultimate final mission. Which planet shall we take it to? I have got no idea. We'll find out closer to the time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.